PydanticAI, the agent framework, versus Model Context Protocol, the open protocol being ushered into the world by Anthropic, most commonly now seen inside of the Claude app context. So what is it about these two things, approaches to building agents, that's different? My friend Greg made this great video that got me thinking about that. He took PydanticAI, built up this integration to the YouTube data API, made some searches, was able to visualize that with a Streamlit app. It was all very cool. It was a great video, but it got me thinking like, okay, that's one approach where you're actually building directly using PydanticAI as an agent framework. What if we were to take that same idea? Could we build that in MCP, and what would that look like? And are there trade-offs? What would be the benefits of using MCP directly? So here we go. I'm going to build an integration with the YouTube data API using MCP and see what that gets us. And the good news is that by the end of this process, I found the perfect use case to show what sets MCP apart. So the main way that you interact with MCP servers is through Claude. Currently, this is the first implementation, but the idea is that other clients could come along and pull in these MCP servers as well. But Claude's going to be the one most people are familiar with. If you were to say, hey, I installed a SQLite database with products, I said, what databases do you see? It tells us about the products. You can say, create a visualization of those products. If we jump in here, it spins up a React app and actually runs it here in this context. And so you see the distribution. Okay, 10 seconds on Model Context Protocol. Came out a few months ago, late 2024. And as they talk about here, it's like a USB-C plug for adding context to your LLMs. So that might be adding a YouTube data API in our case, or interacting with your file system, or lots of things like that. There's lots of possibilities, but that's the general idea, is to have those things all plug into your LLM seamlessly. So on the Model Context Protocol website, they've created a big set of these reference implementations to kind of kick things off. You can talk to a file system, Postgres database, Git, Brave Search, all these different things, Slack. And the idea being that these are just some of the APIs to start, but you can add your own Model Context Protocol servers, and then now your API is available as well. So in our case, there is not a YouTube data API that's here listed. So we'll go out and build one. We'll follow the same process that Greg followed, which is we're just going to ask Cursor, like, do your worst, and we'll see what happens. So to get started, we're here on the MCP website, and they've done this cool thing where they're like assuming that we all are going to be building MCPs with LLMs, right? So they give you this gigantic document that you're meant to give to the LLM to give it a sense of how to start. I think this is really cool. So we'll grab this and hand it to Cursor. So to kick things off, I just started with UV init, started a brand new project. And then here's the prompt. So I grabbed that big LLM's full text, hand that to Cursor, and then we hand the Python SDK to Cursor. And then this, I believe, is exactly what Greg had in his project. We'll just follow on, use the same prompts even. All right, so here's what Cursor gave us. We got an MCP tool, search videos, another MCP tool, get video details. Let's give it a try. So you'll see in the Claude documentation that there's a config file you want to update, and you can give Claude a list of MCP servers. So this is a kind of a pseudocode version of what you want to include. I created this new entry for YouTube, and it's the YouTube data API. Run it this way, give it your key, and then, all right, let's jump over into Claude. All right, now that we're in Claude, we see this little tools here. It says available MCP tools, get video details, search videos. So it's working, that's good. So now let's try exactly what Greg tried. We'll give it the same prompt. We'll just keep going, see what happens. Okay, so I massaged the prompt a little bit, actually added some redundant information, but now we can see we have channel, views, URL. I think that's all the things that Greg showed in his output as well. All right, so now we're gonna ask it to create a detailed analysis of the top 10 videos on PydanticAI, present visually. All right, well, this is kind of interesting. So, it basically created this little React app here using hard-coded versions of the data. And then you can get a little bit of information about engagement, views, and the various channels that this is published on. So far, the approaches seem kind of similar. The amount of code it took to get PydanticAI to talk to YouTube was fairly similar to what it took to get this MCP server stood up. So I had to think about it, like, does this matter? We were able to create visualizations in both, sort of thinking about what is it that people are so excited about with MCP. I thought about some of the servers that they mentioned on their actual documentation, and I was like, Spotify, interesting. Okay, what is it that we could do with Spotify? So here we go. Search the web for public information about the authors of each video. Based on the available information about each author, suggest a song that suits them so I can play it on Spotify. Look at that. So now we've gone out and found public information about these people. We've created this sort of mental model of who each person is, and we've created a song that suits them in some way. And now let's play one. Here we go. The Scientist by Coldplay now playing. I had to open up my phone so that it was unlocked. Pretty amazing. In terms of downsides, MCP is so new that there's just things that it needs to be more full-featured. Right now, it only runs in the client desktop of Claude, pretty much. Yeah, there's other clients, but that's the one most people are familiar with. And all of your MCP servers need to be running locally. So they're working on getting, in their roadmap here, you can see they're talking about getting remote server support with authentication and authorization, as well as being able to discover these servers. That's another piece they talk about. So more support for having more mapped out agentic workflows. So they talk about having, in the future, they'll have interactive workflows, hierarchical agent systems, streaming results, things like that. So those are all right now, those would be things that you might expect to find in a more agentic type of framework and not currently part of MCP. So I'm sure that will change over time. All right, but thank you all. Do you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Talk soon.